rather sad. Hope you can hear me. Yeah. First time I've ever done this, so you're going to get a lot of as I think of the next sentence to say. And for those who have had a colonoscopy, you'll know what I feel like. And for those who haven't, visit the toilets before you leave the hospital. Yes. I was halfway round Aldi, mine. I mean, I made it back, by the way, by the skin of my buttocks. A couple of things. I'm just telling you when I do things. That doesn't mean you've got to do it. Some of the things I miss out are things like the safety moves under the class brakes. Under normal viewing distance, you can't see it. The worst thing I miss out is the stay that goes between the brake lever guide and the nearest axle guard. I tend to leave that off as well. In that respect, I'm going bloody idle. But basically, I'm going to go through a few basic stuff. Some of it will be hopefully basic modelling skills, which hopefully will be helpful. Since I will do the herbs. And also some of the work I've done on all wagons to improve hopefully the quality of the builds, but also the detail. Right? Now, first things first, why go for building kits? Well, there's quite a variety of stuff out there, and if everybody just bought Dapol or Elgin wagons, all the layouts would be the same. And there was a point in the 80s where, with Parkside stuff coming in, everybody's layouts looked like Parkside kits. And they were, to be honest with you, when Parkside arrived on the scene, they were a mega change. It was all like Ready to Run arrived like a few years back. But suddenly you had kits that were very buildable. But one of the reasons I like wagons is that's the standard Dapol 16-ton mirror wagon, which is quite nice. It will run. You'll pay about the same price as you will for a kit, and you've got to build the kit. But the difference is because they've got to get that off the tool, there's no internal detail. If you put internal detail that should be in there, you wouldn't get it off the tool. Yeah? So what you do, if you build a kit, it's already flat pack. You can add detail as you want to. So for instance, that one is I actually backdated it to the same kit as this, the diagram 108. I backdated to the diagram you see. Backdated to diagram 104. And it's a combination of two kits. It's actually the Pico chassis with a Parkside top. So it's got bottom doors. Bottom doors, yeah. So the user spare bits, I provided what they call the monkey tail, which is there, which is the locking device for the bottom doors. And I decided to put rivets on the doors. And that was done by simply just drilling through and putting micro rodding in.
Did you drill through by eye, or did you have a guide to keep them in?
I just measured it all out.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So it looks the part. There are some times when I do rivet counting, because you can't get away with it. You can't get away with not rivet counting, because otherwise it will look wrong. If I'm doing some of the multiple row rivets, I won't bother counting, as long as it looks right. That's all I'm worried about. But the reason for using the rod method in this case is because on the inside, you know, a close look at this later on. Yeah. You can actually see the rivets on the inside of the door. I don't always use that method. It's a chassis. Sometimes I have to scratch build chassis and you see the rivets on there? All I've done with that is I actually draw the outline of the distances, the wagon centre, axle centres, and then axle guard centres for the outer parts of the W1, and then just push through from the back. And that's the easy way of doing it. It's not 100% perfect, but as a quick method in an area that you're likely to look at fairly closely, that does the job. Yeah. One of the things I'm doing is if I want to modify a case, put bolt detail, ring detail on there, I will actually do similar to this, get some 10 pound plastic, push through from the back, and just get a scalpel and tuck to cut off the top off, and I can use that to move things around. And an example, did I bring it? No, I didn't. Typical. But downstairs I've got a Great Western AA20 brake panel building, and the end sheets are about that much higher than the side. I based it on a Parkside kit, so I had to heighten the ends. By the way, just a bit of on the reason that they're actually correct on the DAP model. Right. Yeah, so actually what I did is cut the rivets off and just move them up. Yeah. Again, it's one of the rivet patterns you have to count, because if you don't count it, it looks wrong. That's something we're going to do.
Can I just ask you about rivets? Have you tried using the rail tape?
No, I haven't. No, I haven't. I'd be interested. I've never used them, so I can't comment on whether how good they are. But a lot of people I know do use them. There's a lot of things that I don't do because I haven't tried them yet. One of the things I find is when you look at a model out there, you don't look as if like that, or you look all like that. The vast majority of the time, you're looking down on it. Yeah? So it's nice to get the roof detail right. And a classic case of that is in that. That's in Satan's kit. The kit roof detail is wrong on the kit, it's also wrong on the dapple pod as well. The curved train strips are too deep. So the first thing I do is get rid of the detail.
Sand it off?
Yeah, just put it off. I'll just pair it off, and I'll show you the way I pair. It's very close to your fingers, but actually it's sort of quite a lot of control. The roof vents on the battle one are wrong. They're okay for nailing the R-van, but not for a BR-van. So there's a few other things that are wrong. I mean, the stovepipe there should have a square plate round it. But when I built this, I haven't got a good photograph of a roof. So that will eventually be changed. And the plate was to stop the chimney burning the roof. Yeah. Because it's surprising how hot those stoves can get. You get a bit of coal in there and a bit of draft, it'll catch the roof on fire, but you can see flames coming out the top. Oh. Been there, done that. And if you want a really good stove, Great Western stoves, they're the top notch. This thing about anti-Great Western stuff is a load of rubbish. You can cook a breakfast on that stove, you try cooking one on that. You get your tea can in there and that's it. Right. Where are we going now? Right. Some of the useful tools. Yeah. Some of the useful tools I do find pretty useful is back to camera. So you can see those. Yeah. Take approaches. Right. When you're drilling into the V-hangers, the drills are actually quite violent on the plastic. They actually tear the plastic. So under drill first, and then use tape approaches to open the hole up as much gentler, you're less likely to rip the hole open. These are really useful for transferring dimensions. Again, things like saw bars. You just literally go like that, next that, and then draw the lines across. And they're quite useful for holding things while you're setting everything up. But the good thing to do is go and visit the craft shops, because sometimes you can get miniature bulldog clips or miniature clothes pegs. Clothes pegs are actually quite useful to do soldering because they don't burn. Or hair grips, the ones that clamp together, you can use them as heat sinks. So quite useful. It's not actually the usual aluminium. And that blade there is a number 15 blade, right? That is one of the most useful blades I've got, because I can get into all the corners, and you'll find what I do. Yes. Take the glasses off. If I want to pare something away, I will literally hold the blade like that, pivots against the other hand, and literally do that. And the movement is limited by the fact that I can only go against my hand. Yeah? Otherwise they're quite dangerous. Another good thing about this side of the shape of the blade, not necessarily using size, have you've heard of the Olaf cutters? Yeah? If you can't afford one, or you haven't got one to hand, use that. Backwards. Yeah? The problem is if you use a knife to cut plastic, what you do, you actually just force the plastic apart. When you do that, and your plastic will curl. So if you use an Olaf cutter, you actually cut a feed because you're removing the material. It'll still curl a bit, but it won't curl as much. If you haven't got an Olaf cutter, that will do exactly the same in reverse, but a narrower groove as well. Right? So those are useful things. The process for me normally starts in regards to research. I'm going to show. I'm sorry about this, but I'm going to show you how sad I am. You may not have gathered this by now, but I'm a visual wagon enthusiast, and so I do a fair bit of research. I catalogue all my photographs. They're usually done, and the grouping of the vehicles by diagram number and BR stuff by lot number, that's the order number for the vehicle. And then I create folders which are like this one. See that? And inside there, you'll find a list of, I'll go something, let's open a complex. The list of the drawing, the photographs I've got, and actually all the variations of.
Could you clear?
Sorry, yeah, it's alright. Sometimes no good thing. All the variations on each photograph, axle guards, buffers, and stuff. Which, for me, is useful because if I'm on the 1950s and most photographs are taken in the 1960s onwards, you can start to work out what the vehicle looked like in the 1950s. Because there's usually traces. The vast majority might have one axle box rather than later ones. So it's useful from that respect. And it's also, I tend not to model a photograph a wagon, because everybody does that. So I prefer to model a wagon within that batch, and then each little batch. And for those who are unfortunate, there's sometimes the point that I've got to do an article on VR brake modes.
Sorry, what?
An article on VR brake modes.
Ah.
That's really sad. Oh well, there's my AA tractor, and you can see that. But you can see where I moved the line for the end sheeting and move the rivets up. Hope you can see that. You can all have a closer look later on anyway. I'll and if we go downstairs to D9. I'm the one who's in the toilet, by the way. Jackie discovered me there. Because it wasn't on the original drawing, the map. You can have a closer look. I've also got, if you're new to wagon building, I've got lots of different kits there, deliberately so people can have a look to see what's going on. Right. Where do I start? Doing the research, idea of prototype, I might have a card or book, I'll make a few notes in, what I want to do, what variations I'll do. First things first, is I clean up the sprue. I've done these two. It's quite clean up, it's quite easy to do. You can do it while you're watching a telly or lunch break. I was working at HS2 recently, laying concrete in there through a tarmac laying machine. And I took a knife, a file, and all I was doing was just cleaning it all up. Making a mess of the van, but cleaning it up. You see, you don't need a lot of stuff to clean up. I was scraping down the back edge of the axle glass and making it a little thinner. But the thing about leaving on the sprue is, you've got a lot of, and also you've got something to hold on to.
Yeah.
Some of these parts, if you look at the safety loops for Slater's BR vehicles, they're neatly done, but they're right peg to get off the sprue and very, very delicate. So you invariably have to find or replace them. So that's all I did for that. So filing down the side of axle box and stuff. I know I've got to clean it afterwards when I take it off the sprue, but it saves a lot of time. Okay? Another thing I do is the roof. Yeah. One. Not one. But what I'll do is I'll rough the roof up. I usually use something like that. Go over it. Over that way, try and get rid of all the shiny bits off this, because roofs aren't shiny. They're very matte. Most roofs have canvas, so you've got a bit of texture on there. And I'll rough it up, not so you can see a lot of grain. I just want to see a little bit. The roofs are actually made. They use a bedding compound, which is like a very watery putty. Put that on top, stretch the canvas down, pin it. And about 6 coats of paint after, finishing thing with linseed oil. So the canvas can still move. And then gradually increase the thickness of the paint. If you put the first coat on, it disappears. You don't see it.
When you're utilising your file,
yeah.
How much pressure do you actually put on?
It's a matter of sucking the sea. It's like a lot of things. You get the feel for it. If you leave it to, you don't want. Somewhere around here. Might have one. One of those ones, the red backs and stuff. The one side's quite coarse. They're not disposable nail files. If you use that, then you've got to cut it deep. So you don't want to do that. So that's one bit I do. Another one method I've started using is when I spray the roof. I don't thin the paint so much, so it gets a sort of orange peel effect. Yeah, that's all what I do. One I haven't tried yet, and I was talking to a chap yesterday, he uses tissue paper.
Yeah, I do that.
Yeah.
Most tissue papers are laminated, so you have to pull them apart.
Yeah.
You've only got one piece.
Yeah.
Then I paint the roof with a bit of thinners in it.
Yeah.
Then I lay it over it, pull it tight, and then let it dry, and then you can very easily separate it. It looks very good.
Yeah, I've read somewhere that some people use a solvent to list it up. I'm a bit wary of that because solvent, one side of plastic, a lot of solvent can deform plastic. So I'm very wary of that. But yeah, I haven't tried that method yet. I know about it, but I haven't tried it.
But I'm regrouping, so.
Yeah. Another little tip for you: if you place any roof.
That's a great idea.
Simple mug.
It's a great idea.
Should do so. A simple mug. And all you got to do then is hold that. Yeah. And then once you've held that, you can paint it, put it down. Yeah. So, you can use any plastic, you can just do your loft cuts or anything like that. And I always paint the roof separate to the bodies because it's easy to do it. Most of the construction I do, I build everything, chassis on the bodies before I start painting because I spray. What I would recommend is if you hand paint, then paint a lot of the internal stuff as much as you can before you assemble. Because once you assemble it, you're going to struggle to get at it. But I paint using airbrush, and I will literally go like that. Not too worried about it, let it dry, just paint the body, not worry about the overspray. Because I don't weather, I tone my stuff down. and then once I've done straight body, I'll just get a bit of black in there. I'm not too worried it's a perfect cover up because the towing down will hide a lot of the debris anyway. And it'll help to sort of highlight if you like the white short-hand weather. That's a consideration to do when you're actually building. One of the other things to do is, and it's imperative that you do this. Right. Here's one I did earlier. This is a banana van. One of the problems with the parkside stuff sometimes is the sole bar won't fit in the groove.
Oh.
It sits above it. So if you try and put that in, it won't sit at the bottom. So what you need to do is make the groove wider. And the easy way to do that, it's crude, but it works. If I can find the right to find it, there they are. Literally do that. Yes, it'll be a bit wider than you need, and there'll probably be a gap just there. But again, how many people look up? Yeah, so that's quite crude opening up. Another problem I found on this kit, and it's the same as well. When you put the end onto the floor, this heavy bit there actually goes beyond the groove. Yeah, you can see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you put that on there, and then try and fit the chassis will do that. So the easy way to do it, you're not going to cut that out of there, is take the bit out the back of the sole bar. So actually when you do put it on, you'll actually sit square. Another thing I found with this was, checking this out, was it's rubber. It's quite easy to put this on upside down. Yeah? I don't think I've done it, but I wouldn't be the first if I had. And I found that if I put that against the headstock there like that, the taller bracket doesn't line up. Yeah? You see that? Yeah? So by just paring away behind the facial detail, doesn't need much, hopefully this will fit me. I'll take a bit too much out, but now I can actually line that up. Yeah? It takes a few seconds, and it's worthwhile doing it. Because if it's too high, you might have problems with the roof later. But it looks neater. The core on these vans is square, so if there's any gaps there, you're going to have to fill it. On an open wagon, the core plates are usually on the radius. And on Great Western wagons, it's a 3-inch radius. So an easy way to do that is, in the gap, the way you put some pressure onto the corner that overlaps to fill the gap, let it go off, and then we'll be back afterwards to get the radius. But you look at any of the open wagons, you'll find the corner plate and the radius. Yeah? So it's worthwhile doing that. Another thing you have to bear in mind is if you end up doing scratch building, is the end planks fit inside the side planks. And there's a good reason for that. If that's the end, and you put the sides in like that, the most likely planks to get damaged are the end planks. So you've got to take the entire side off to get to the end plank. If it's like that, you just take the end plank out. Yeah? So that's just something you learn along the way. I used to work at a wagon parlour in Severn Valley Railway. So I've a bit of practical experience as well. Right. So we put our bits together, try to fit it, This is another lava. This, unfortunately, went right. I was hoping it would go wrong, but it didn't. We put it together. What we can do is use a little bit of solvent, just tack things together, so you can adjust things as you go. It gives you a bit of time. And I'll put back the solvent in a second or two. So I'll put it all together, check it all out, make sure it's square, and then I can put a load of solvent in and then put it to one side. Now solvents, I tend to use three sorts. I use a old tube glue if you want a precise fitting. So like if it's axle boxes, you get put the glue exactly where you want it and you won't go into around the axle box backs to done it all. This is the lots of strong glue. I use anything. I use Metcat, anything I can get my hands on. I'm not too fussed about that. This stuff, plastic welds, Duotone. Again, this is particularly ABS plastic. Both have features that can be useful. That will take a long time to evaporate and it gives you time to adjust. Right? And if you just want to, if you want to move and take some apart, you can do quite easily regularly. That one evaporates quite quickly and it'll give you an almost immediate joint. The problem is it destroys the plastic and it potentially makes the plastic brittle. So I tend to use, at one time I used to use this all the time. I've learned it's not a good idea. So I tend to keep this purely to ABS plastic. Right. Next. Now, having built the body, I fit the first soul bar. Make sure it's not bending, it will fit properly. And once it's fixed, put it in, I check it and check it for squareness. So I would either iron against the far headstock or you can use a square, whichever. Or even, daft it seems, the skirting board there and that vertical conduit, the what, it doesn't matter what you use. Just to make sure it is square, and then leave that to go off because it's going to take a lot of good pound and next. Because when they fit the other soul bar, I try and fit bearings, axle box backs, wheel sets, and soul bar all at the same time. Not because I want to fit be clever, but because I want to see where that soul bar is going to end up. And I had hoped that it was actually going to sit like that. Yeah? Purely so I can show you how to get around the problem and get it square. And it didn't. Sometimes, you know, best so sometimes you will get that when the axle bars are straight. Now, the way to do it is you can either drill further into the back or the backs and try and deepen the bearing. Or another one is to try and thin things down a little bit, but there's a really easy one. It is crude. You get your axles and you just file off the pinpoints. Gradually file them down, both equally, both sides. Unless you're going to run 100 wagon coal trains, which in fact I presume the vast majority won't do, then it won't affect your running. It has no real benefit. Because you want a bit of side play anyway, otherwise you've got no binding up. So that's right, tips. Need to cheat.
I bought a wagon, an unusual Carolina wagon yesterday, and the wheel sets are dropping out because the soul bar. Yeah. But
again, equally both sides. You don't want a wagon going down the track off. Yeah. Think about those, right. The next question is about the buffers. Again, buffers, particularly parkside kits, is one of the first things I do. And they come like that, separate collars, and I glue the collars on with that glue. And once I've tacked in place, I don't try and clean them up, I then leave them to go off. Because when I come to do them, I want to make sure the spindle goes all the way through, the spindle on the buffer. That's the other thing, when I take these out, I actually put all the knobs and springs on to save them going right. So I drill out that to make sure it's clear for the spindle but not the spring. Then I will literally push, drill in 1.8 millimetres is the ideal as such. As a minimum, it's clearing the spring. Push it as far as I can go and then twist it back. Because if you drill into it, you're likely to drill into the stop, the wide bit to the back. So I'm going to push it, drill it out, and then gradually feel my way in, just to make sure it's clear. If you go too large on diameter, don't worry about it. Actually, it's a good thing. Earlier this year, I built a couple of plate wagons, and I decided I'm going to bite the bullet straight off and replace the tie bars with metal strip because they tend to break. Oh, well, I'm doing that. I'll do the ones that the tie bars that are broken wheel stuff. So I put that in. Did those, and then thought, well, if I do those, it's then going to look hard against the ones with original tie bars. So I bought those lots of. When I started looking at them, I found other defects that of wagons, like some have actually missed safety loops under the brakes and stuff. The buffers wouldn't work, so I had to take the buffers apart and re-drill them so they actually work now. Some of the axle boxes were wrong. The Parkside, when they introduced the plate wagon kit, they did a nice BR open front axle box. And unfortunately, they put the hinge on the wrong side. It was on the right-hand side rather than the left-hand side. And I thought, at one time I could live with that, I can't live with it now. Right? So the axle box fronts had to come off. So this little thing of actually looking at tie bars, got means the sorting the buffers out and on further things. I'll show you a 10.5 sub BR axle box. One of the other things about brakes is look at the real thing, make sure that what you do will actually work. The number of vehicles I've seen built and there's no way the brakes will work. In fact, you put the brake on, it will come off. I've seen that loads of times. What I tend to do when I do that is I will get to that stage and I'll start working where the brakes are going to go. Got it up here, did I bring it? Yes, I did. This is a bog standard Parkside kit. All I've done with this is removed the ironwork that's there. So I'm turning it into a D1812. So it needs a new chassis. And you can see the stage I'm at the moment is I'm actually fitting the brakes into the class. The class brakes coming from either the Slater's BR brake van or the LMS brake van, because they do supply different sets of brakes in there. But they're not easy to find. The unfortunate thing is, Slater's in their wisdom, where they produce this. When they produce this through here, they actually put on wrong brake box for class brakes. They're the right sort of Morton or double brakes, not for class brakes. Right, it might not matter to some, but it's an irritation to me. Okay, I'll come back to those because that's show you something else. So I like to get the brakes right. They're not always perfect, so some of the stuff I'll miss off. And despite what Mr. Larkin says in his, one of his books on mentioning Great Western brakes, they're lovely from that hands-on experience with them. Right. Some of the early kits with their brakes in the first part of the Parkside range, the brake blocks are actually too far away from the wheels. So the simple answer to that is you've got a tumbler, as it's known, there, cuts either side away from the tumbler, fit that to the brake push rod, move those out and refix. Yeah? See that? That's an easy way of doing it. When I do for the brakes as well. And what I'm going to do on this one, you'll often find there's a moulding line there. So initially when I clean it up, I'll take it back to there. When I fit the brakes themselves, so I decide which brakes to go on which side. The side on the inside, I will literally take a gravity V out of it. So you've got clearance at the back. So you only hit the outside edge is close to the wheel. You see that? Yeah? So if you want to, you can move close if you want to. So yeah, that's what it does. It's that. It's just ease that away there. You've got less chance of actually causing binding. The brake lever guide there. Right, do I haven't got one to move it. Remember those disposable nail file jobs? The brake lever guide there, it's plain. So what I do, the smaller one, the green small nail file, I'll put that in there to support it. And then the holes, just work my way down them. Again, I don't count them. You need a space at the gap at the top because the brake lever won't be affected, and then there'll be a space at the bottom. And just make my way down, just little dimples, so that it represents the holes.
And you're doing it from the back?
No, from the face.
Oh right.
From there.
Oh, right.
Yeah, that's the face. That's the outside face. So we'll do it like that. Again, I think it's about 13, I suppose, to be depending on which part of the RCH railway clearinghouse regulations there were, but we don't count them. No point. Nobody else is going to count them, so we'll do them. Right, so that's the brakes done. Well, I have actually missed a stage out. That's when I do build these. Before I put the brakes, actually make sure the wheels will actually go there under their own weight. And what I do there is I'll take the axle box, find the top of the turret. So that is the bit there is the turret. Yeah, yeah. I will then get the scriber for a dimple in the top of the turret, right in the middle, and then drill down into the top. Again, 1.8mm is the ideal diameter. It's enough room for a spring, coil spring, to work without it binding, and also tight enough so it doesn't go spring off.
Drill it in?
Yeah. Drill it in. No, well, can do, but at least you want just the tip of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if I pass this to you, you can see the process there and there. And so you pass it to you, you can see what you can actually spring the axle box. Yeah. Pass it around there and we can have a look. That's not the only method of springing, but it works for me. You can try the axle box if you want to, just make sure it springs. Springing, the Guild did some tests a few years back, and they actually found if you spring the wagon, it's more likely to stop on the track than if you compensate it. And certainly more reliable, yeah, and certainly more reliable than if it's rigid. The only thing they didn't try is they did compensation on one axle, they tried that, but that pole compensates across both axles on one side only. And I spoke to Richard about it, about why he did that. He said, well, the trouble with ordinary compensation is just one end.
Yeah.
And he reckons doing compensation across two axles is better, more reliable. Yeah? Again, that's something I did especially for today. So you can have this weekend, so you can have a closer look at it. You only drill in half the depth of the spring. You don't need any more than that. If you've got a heavy vehicle, there are status buffer springs. If you've got a heavy vehicle, then I'll go for the status horn block springs. And if you saying earlier, I actually sprung some ABS white metal kits, and for those I tend to use one block springs because they are heavier.
The outside instructions basically is that they come all the way up the side.
Yes.
And they feel like
Yeah.
Do you then get the buffer height different at all?
Potentially, yes, but you get that on the real thing anyway. If you ever get the chance, go on a brake van ride, go on it, stand next to the end next to the vehicle, next to, and watch the high differences between. They go all over the place. They're sideways, upwards, downwards, a lot. You think, when you start looking at it, you think, how the hell does this thing stop on the track? Because you think it's only that much flange, and a couple of an inch or so flange. You should try for the front end, it's even scarier. But if you come around Folly Point, the river Severn's down below you. So yeah. So I'll have that for the cameras back in a second, and for people who have a look. So if you, after we've done this, we can have a look at this stuff anyway, and I'll be down on D9. So thank you very much. You're right for the camera. Do that. I actually scored on the top one. The scores line, smart lines down inside the axle guards. There's a guide, and I chop it back, take the bolt out. But what I then do, as I get closer to the line, I take less and less off it each time, so as you put strain into plastic. So eventually, get that, and I better find it somewhere. Should be all organised in this time. And then I make up the back of the axle box. It's just two pieces of plastic glued together. It's where the dividers are really useful to mark out centres and widths, and then that slides in, fits in there, and that goes up and down like that, which is basically what parts I do. You make your own. You don't want to sloppy fit, but you want to make sure it doesn't bind. Yeah. Now, when it comes to doing fitting the axle box, if you've got the wheel sets in place like that, I seem to fit the axle box and the spring, so under the dummy spring, and open that drop onto there, and then fix it into place. I have used ordinary solvent to do that. You've got to be careful when you do that, because it works by capillary reaction, and if it gets down the sides, yeah. So what I do is when I fix it, and it has done that, as soon as I kind of realise it's going to bind, take it apart. Right, and leave it to go off. That's the same thing you will do, is any time that you put your finger into a wagon, and one of the classic ones is when you plug the corners together, you do that, you hold it there, solvent works through, and you've got solvent on the side of it. If you do that, leave it alone. Don't try and clean up then, wait for the solvent to evaporate, for the plastic to wipe off, and then sort it. If you've gone over detail, sorry, you're probably stuffed. But if there's over plain clamps like that, then you can usually do something about it. Just scrape off the worst of it, and then work it back with a bit of wet and dry. Right. I did mention to you about scraping. If you've got, in this case, a part which to make a major feeder to your part, don't try and break it off, because you'll end up with a hole in the part. That's not being clean at the moment, not going to worry about that. So I'll just gradually pare it back. I can't see them. Right. and when it's, because there's actually a line there, I can use it on, I can then use the knife to scrape it back. Don't want to damage this side of it though. Yeah. So that's what, and then you get a bit of burr at the back and just scrape off on it. It's a bit messy, but you get the gist. Yeah. That's how I do most of my cleaning up. Oh, and there's one other thing as well. If you hold the knife, the blade square, it will juggle. So literally, you have to have it on a slight angle. You'll see what you'll see what I mean when you do it. Right. Buffers. I mentioned about during the buffers, but one thing I didn't mention is fixing to the body. And a little tip for you here. Suddenly, everything leans forward.
It's because I've locked them solid too many times.
Well, we put them in, a bit of ABS, glue like that around there, drop them in. But the simple one is, either that's got a slight ridge round the hole around there, or there's a slight curve where there's the back of the axle box, the buffer goes in. A little slight curve there. And I discovered this because one buffer wouldn't sit properly against the headstock. So I get a large diameter drill, doesn't matter what size. Loosen it down. It'll sit neatly then against the headstock. Yeah? The other thing about this building, which was important to clean up, do the drivers, is take time. It's not competition. As you get more experience, you will get faster. And when I build something, I usually build 3 or 4 wagons, and I tend to work through the processes at the same time, so I've got all the same kit out for all the wagons. Another thing I do is when I make spare bits, I always make more bits than I need. And there are 3 very good reasons for that. One, I might build another vehicle of the same type, so I choose for that spare bits. Secondly, I may not produce the bits as neatly as I want, so it's nice to have a choice of what bits I can use. That's a bit less simple. And the third one, and the bane of all models' lives, is the carpet monster. The number of bits I've lost in the carpet, only to make new bits, and then it is. And then there's the carpet monster looking at you laughing. Been there, done that. Which is a good thing for wearing one of these. It looks very, very posh and stuff. There's a good reason for wearing one of these. Because what you do, tuck that on there, allow it to tie it up, secure it to the table, one way or another, and all your rubbish goes in there, including the spare bits. Yeah? Yeah. No, that's these. Yes.
Well, that's basically.
And I've tried that.
That's basically a jeweler's apron.
Well, if you look, yes,
gold.
Yeah, because you notice the jewellers, what they do, they take watches and stuff, they actually do it, they drop the tools in there. Yeah. You've got a modelling bench. Mine's not up to scratch at the moment. I want to do some proper lighting, it's good lighting. But one of the things I do it's around some circles, but a piece of MDF board. It's reasonably flat, and like you can see this here. Right, you see some ABS markings there, and some markings there. I actually drilled into it to do the handrails for that. That's to basically make a drawing, drill that with the whole handrails are going to go, and solve it all up on there. Because I've got 4 Slater's vans and 3 ABS vans to build. And so if you're building one, why not make it cheap to build the rest? All makes life easier. Right. Are you happy with sort of basic construction? It's basically just takes off. Every kit has its faults. Right? This has quite a few. But having said that, if you're prepared to work through the different problems, it does actually make a good model. So there's a lot of work going into this. And I'll explain what I did and what some of the things you can do to kits to improve the detail on them. You never get bored, are you? You don't want to lunch break at all, if like. Right. So there's lots of details you can do. Again, look at the photographs. One thing I will say about photographs though is ideally you want them dated, and ideally the author knows what he's talking about. That is something I found is not always the case. I found that some recent books in the book of looks and capture, that's wrong. That comes with nearly 40 years of being a wagon enthusiast. In one of Mr. Larkin's recent books on LMS vans, he's got some D1814s. One of them, and describes it as a D1812. I know it's an 1814, so does Bob Essery and all the LMS society. Yeah. But that happens. So if you want to look at photographs, we've captured and used, or back it with other knowledge as well. So I've made a few mistakes. I'm going to show you all of my mistakes in a bit. Okay, I'm not perfect. If you want to go for an easy kits to build, then I would recommend Pico ones. To be honest with you, they're actually quite easy. They do tend to fit very well. The Great Western ones, you've got to watch the pivot point, because you need there's a little bracket you glue to the floor. If you put the pivot in there, it's tight. So you need to open that up as well. A mate of mine who's probably easy to run around today, wondering where I am, he built a ballast wagon and it was sitting on one end higher than the other. Right? And he said, well, I've done it wrong. Why did you do it wrong? Then I remembered, it's 2 pivot points. He picked the deep one rather than the shallow one. Unfortunately, he hadn't thrown them away. So he changed them. So now it's that level. The Great Western van, the floor is too wide for it. So you have to swing the floor down again from both sides. There are other issues as well. Richard Webster designed originally added play value so you can open the doors and stuff. So the hinges are overbeam. And the van you got some brackets underneath, which aren't on the real thing. And just glue them shut. The BR stuff is an interesting one. And I've got some salt bars here, so. Right, let's just show these to the camera first, so I'll pass them round. The top one is as per kit, the bottom one is modified. It will be used for an iron ore tippler. Is that clear on the camera? Yeah? Right. So the bottom one's been modified for an iron ore tippler. They actually got the wrong axle boxes, but I'll sort that out another time. I'll come back to axle boxes. So if I pass them around to you now. The modified one's got the D plates on, and the original ones. So that sole bar there is actually intended for the 16-ton miniature transport wagon, which was built by Charles Roberts. So it's got a Charles Roberts builder's plate on it. But for the iron ore tippler and the pig iron wagon, it's wrong. So you can see I've taken detail off and added new detail or moved detail around to fit. The iron ore tippler and the pig iron will have different axle boxes. And they are these. Right. These are scratch built, they're not 3D printed. Well, the 3D printers save a lot of time. As a BR, open front, 75 axle box. There's 11 pieces of plastic in that axle box. and the little square things at the top are actually designed so that you get a special spanner, pull it out and twist the front round to get out to the axle box bearing the pad and stuff. And it started off like that. Okay. Roll the plastic up to get the right size, now the detail. Again, you couldn't have a look, a closer look if you wanted to do. When it comes to the axle, yeah, that's that. As we put together the kit, those Pico kits are very good. There are a bit of feeling and stuff, but you get the all kits. Slater's kits are quite good. But the problem with Slater's ones, particularly their Park Owner wagon, is this. Somewhere. Got a nice bit of detail on the outside, but bugger all on the inside. Okay? So, what I do, like that, okay? And then, oops, got it wrong. Shall get it wrong now. And then do that and do it all around the other parts in the kit as well. So you create the plank. And you got the inside. But also there's a lot of washer plates missing off the inside as well, which I'll put on there. And there's quite a few of them. For each corner there's 6 plates for each corner. And by the way, I don't do detail, we put the rivets and bolts on there. Even that's too much effort. The 1923 pattern come with a rocking WI box. Fold them up. Ideally, you should solder in the corners, but if you can't, if you don't have confidence solder, it's a good way to learn actually. If you're not overconfident in those, then some epoxy glue will hold it. I'm not keen on. The reason I'm not keen on super glues is they can form a very brittle joint.
Yeah.
So I'm not keen on that.
As time goes on, they become more brittle.
Yeah.
I had a kit posted to me, a built one.
Yeah.
When it arrived, it was totally kit again.
Yeah. I'm not keen on it at all. I only use it as the last resort. Right. Is everybody happy with just basic construction? Because it's one of these things where you only realise the faults as you build them. But like I say, if you've got
Just one thing, how do you ensure your corners square? You do it. I sometimes see it's like wobble on occasion. I try to sort of hold that things together.
yeah, that's what I do is hold the hole. And what I'll do is put that against there, mark where I want it, couple of drill holes, open it up, so it's right in there. Okay. The way watching these is they don't like to be pushed side to side. They will bend and break if not careful. Once it's in, I will take one of the springs, drawbar springs from the kit, and literally I will take out the middle ring. That gives me 2 springs out. The open end, I will put behind the back of the headstock, and then put a piece of wire through the hole on the drawbar, and slip it really well. And that's enough for me. If you put it in half, it's too big. So when I'm doing that, quite often I actually put that on, squeeze it up as far as I can, either with one of those or something that's surprisingly useful. Clamps. Put that and clamp it on. It's got to right top. It's also, for those of you who are struggling with couplings, they can actually be quite useful for hooking up. Because the link is going to move around. But that's one of the things I take to use. Right. Are you happy with basic stuff? Yeah? Right, go a little bit further. Just your plastic card, never assume the vertex is square, never assume that's straight. So you make sure you teach yourself. Put an edge off and away you go. Right? If you're going to use it for making bits, come inside slightly, particularly if you're using the dividers which you can't find anymore. Because you invariably find that that first bit is going to be that shallow. So if you come in slightly, mark it parallel, then mark everything off that first line. Yeah? And then you can start using a square to mark off the bits. And somewhere around here. This is another work in progress. This is an Aeronar 5M100 21 ton car. A bit of damage will go in there, unfortunately. But if you look at the brackets there, they're quite thin. On the real thing, they're quite thick. And that's what you get in the kit. It's quite thick. So you can compare that to that. Yeah? And to me it looks better. And when you're making one, you can make loads. Can you see the practice, yeah? Always make more bits than you need. Okay, I made more bits because I know what the 3 kits are. And if you go down to like the table, D9, you'll find I'll find another one, which is basically the VR upper, but the end support is made in place by struts. And here's one I did earlier. I've got to be trying to say that for ages. This is basically a late LDR design. It's built by VR days, it's got VR axle cards. It was actually a Craven's design. And if you look closely, you can actually see the brackets are different. Right? And also, there's a brake lever there, the brake lever guide. We had 2 of these on the Severn Valley many years ago, and I remember shunting them. I only shunted them once. And chasing these wagons down the yard at kilometres, that over all the debris before the carriage shed was built. So it was covered in spare bits of track and stuff, and there were only 3 sidings, one which was no longer in this room, and one side belonging to the set coaches. So I'm chasing these down and going, I can't get the handbrake off this thing. Oh, it's a stupid hook. So I pull the hook out of the way and got the handbrake down. Better mind, I'm down running. And eventually got his hand down and put the pin in and slowed it down so it didn't go crashing it. Oh, the sound of the buffer smash. Oh, I love that. But right, you break it at the time I might be repairing it. So I'm chasing these wagons down, so I picked it down and stopped it. I went into the pub that night, in the castle, and the character who's no longer with us called Naka, William David Clark, and he was a shunter and guard up in the North East. I complained about this break because he was a North Eastern man, not Eleanor, North Eastern. I'm not saying what he called me, but I think it's something like a pregnant goldfish. It was the polite way of putting it. He said, all you've got to do was that. The hook is like a seahorse, but upside down. So the head acts as the hook, and the belly is round like that. So when you push down the hook, it rubs against the belly, pushes the hook out of the way, and down it comes. I never shunted them again afterwards. They ended up going to Snipson, where they were the Colony Museum, and they got shot, which is really unfortunate because they were fairly there. But there we go. Well, that's just something that, the other thing I did as well, with this not this one, that one there. I did it about the same time as there's been something attached to sort of press and stuff. Build the body separate to the chassis on these. Right? There is a frame member that goes across, middle there, to you put that in and fix it in, you won't get the body on or off. Yeah? So you make that part of the chassis, part of the body. You can see that the frame over there. What it does mean is, when it comes to painting, you've got basically a pure black spot and a pure grey side. And then you can join it together afterwards. Makes your life a lot easier. And it does work. I'm not the only one that's tried and discovered it. Right. Next. You'll find there are lots of things wrong with this. Again, not just the basic construction, but also the detail.
That's very interesting, right?
Okay, yeah. Right. This is a good one. Okay, yeah, no problem. I'll send you like what's in here? It's the latest kit. I'll have to put new end weights on there. Onto the bottom panels of the cabin, double skin grounder, and made scratch built buffers. Those are dowsy buffers. So I couldn't get them. So, and it's also strong as well. That one is Slater's steel open wagon, and I corrected the door catches. Because the door catches in the kit are only R1s, not the R1s. And if you look at all the big prefix ones, the bar goes in and goes into a pocket like that, the pin goes through there. All the yellow R1s, it's a hole that goes through like that. Apart from on the shop wagons and the soda rash. That's the standard Parkside background. The last 100 of these builds are length of the wheelbase to 14 feet. And so what I did was cut the sail bar into 3 top ends, making sure that the spring hanger was right on the bottom of the egg stock, and then put it back together again, fill the gaps in. This one here, and this one here, starts off as the same kit, and I mean the same kit. So for this one I use the sides for the chassis, and that one I use the roof and the fence, and scratchbook the rest to give you 2 different fans. This has got corrugated end, which is also scratch built, and it's 2mm half round rod, using the original kit end as a pattern to get the rods in the right place, and then mini put to put a reverse curve in, and then basically getting the basic paper, not folding it round like that, but doing that. So basically you can actually work between the corrugations to round it off. It took a little while to do that, because I don't happy with that, a bit more sanding, and yeah, so eventually I got something like it. But yeah, that's the sort of stuff you can do. I think probably it's 12 o'clock, you're probably starving. So hopefully you've enjoyed that. You might like you've learned something. But if you want to I'll put the matter later on. I'll say on D9. Okay. We'll take the one side of this up and go back down there. So thank you for coming. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Hope you weren't bored too much. No. So yeah.